Hi, it's John from Crafts by John UK. Today's finished card is this one. It's a beautiful Lavinia Fairy stamp, and I've created an interesting background using a brayer and some different inks which I've splashed with water to create this interesting kind of cloud effect. Then we've created a sun, we've done some background stamping at the top and the bottom, we've kind of left an area clear for our sentiment, then mounted it on black and then onto a white card blank. You can see it's a nice card, lots of detail. The wings are glistening, the sun or moon has got a halo around it, but it's quite a striking card. And if you're interested in how I did it, I've done 3 different videos, one around the background, one around the stamping in the middle, and then one around finishing the card off. So if you're interested, look out the videos and I'll share with you some tips along the way. Right, part 3 of 3, here we are now. We've got our image, we've got our stamped fairy centrally, we've got all our mushrooms and foliage, and we've got some stuff coming in at the top as well. We've got a nice ink gradient here. So the first thing I'm going to do is, using a jelly roll, a silver pen, I'm just going to go around the sun and give it a bit of a halo. Now you have to be a little bit careful with this. I don't have the steadiest hand in the world, so just do it very gently. First of all, making sure your pen's actually working and any silver is coming out. There we go. So there we go. This is quite a subtle effect, but it does make a difference. So just follow the line of that sun. Use a piece of paper rather than sit your hand on the project. Just slowly follow the circle. As I said, it's quite a subtle effect, but when you see it, you do see it. It's quite a nice little addition. And then I will go in behind her wings. There we go. So quite hard to capture on the screen, but I don't know if you can see that or not, but you have now got a little subtle kind of glittery silver line around. The other thing I'm going to do is I've got my Nuvo Wink of Stella. This is a shimmer. Always test this out before you start. But what we're going to do is we're going to go in and give her wings a bit of a shimmer as well. So I'm just going to go over that. What you might find it does is kind of blend the colour in a little bit, but what you'll be left with once it dries is a nice glittery, shimmery effect on the wings. There we go. I usually clean that off as well on a scrap piece of paper when I finish, because you don't want the colour being left on it. There we go. Again, not sure you can see that, but it does leave a shimmery effect. So we've done that. Now we've got we can use a white pen as well. This is similarly a jelly roll. I usually roll that in my hands before I start using it, just to warm it up, and you can see then it does come out. So what we could do is we can go in and we can just add a little bit of highlighting if we wanted to. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm just going to do a few tops of mushrooms. And bear in mind the sun is there, so we would be doing the side that's facing. As I said, we don't need to do every single one. So work away from your light source. And the further you get away from it, the less to do. So there we go. You can also add similarly a light on the body, but I tend not to do that if I'm honest. There we go. And then the other thing I'm going to do as well is I'm just going to go along the actual shape of the ground, just behind where it's behind anything. If you want to kind of pull it around anything, I just usually dab it with my hand. There we go. It's a tiny little thing, but it does kind of add. Okay, so we've now got our base image. What I'm going to do at this point is grab my smoothies. So I'm going to take a blue and I'm just going to go around the edges. I don't want any white on the edges of this card, so I'm going to use a blue in the blue area just to give the edges a bit of colour. And then similarly, I'll use some kind of an orange at the bottom. I don't want to see any white between this layer and whatever I put on the back. So just going along, and I'm just using the residual ink that's on these brushes, or on these sponges. And these are Distress Oxide inks, so it doesn't matter that they're all different. Okay, so there's our kind of highlighted image. We've got a few little bits of interest. And then basically now all we need to do is back it. So I'm going to grab, I've got a piece of scrap black paper here. I'm just going to back it in black. So find a good edge, a good side. There we go. And then I'm going to do it using my double-sided tape, just so I can move things around a little bit. So give everything an edge. So double-sided, and because the paper's been quite wet, it's quite good to actually do something in the middle as well, just to hold things down. Otherwise you might find it kind of warps on the card base, which doesn't look great. So double-sided everywhere. There we go. And then I will use my little tweezers because I have no fingernails, because I'm a man. This is where you ladies have advantages when you're card making. There we go. So that's now ready to stick down. So this is the bit I need to get right. So I'm just gonna kind of hover that in the corner, check the rough distance all the way along. And I'm using a piece of scrap paper on top because we've put a lot of ink on this page and colour will still be coming off, as you can see, blue. So always good to do that. Right, then take your ruler and your craft knife, which are essential tools for card making, and we're just going to trim this down. I find it a lot easier to do it this way around than cutting a piece of paper and then trying to get it in the middle. So and then similarly at the bottom, just do it by eye. There we go. And then all we need to do now is grab a card blank, and this is a 9x20, so I've just got a white one. My hands are actually filthy at this point, I really should go and wash them, but hopefully I can do this without making a mess. Actually, I'm just noticing I've got ink here, so I'm just going to quickly give that a clean. The last thing we want to do at this stage is get something on our pristine white card that should not be there. Right, so let's fold this and just get that with a nice crease in it, which I'm using my bone folder for. Check it from the other side. Same again. Right, let's find a good side. That one looks okay. That one's got a slightly dirty mark. I'm going to use that one and cover it up. So again, double-sided. And we'll put one blob in the middle. We don't want quite as big a piece in the middle, because if we do that, it won't give us the ability to move it around a little bit, which we need. But the fact that the card base is stuck to the black layer means it shouldn't lift, and doing it this way will just give us the ability to wiggle it around a little bit and make sure it's in absolutely the right place. So take just the corners of the tapes off. It's just the bunny ears trick. And then we'll just lay that on our card blank. So, line that up roughly. I'm just noticing this card blank is not even at the bottom. I don't know if that's me or whether that's been cut badly, but I will just try and fix that. That's a bit better. Yeah, it's slightly on the wonk, to be honest. I might have to just trim that afterwards. Right, where was our good side? That one was the one with the mark on it. So, if we stick it down the middle, we can always just cut it with a guillotine. There we go. And then we just pull the tapes off. There we go. And then I always go over with the bone folder just onto the black layer, just to make sure you've got no lifted edges. There we go. Now we just need to do something with the sentiment. So I happen to have a Get Well Soon here that I had left over from a previous project. So I'm going to use that just for speed. So just going to tidy that up a bit. Got a little mark there. I don't know quite what that is, but I don't know if that's going to come off. Where's my rubber? I actually stuck this on a previous project and then decided I didn't like it, so I took it off. It's alive. That's near enough. So this is raised, as you can see, but this is going to look quite cool here. I'm going to line it up with the left hand side, and then I'm just going to lay it down roughly in that bit there. Just noticing this has got like a lifted edge here, which is slightly annoying, but it looks okay. There we go. So you can now see we're finished. So we've got our stamped fairy. She's got shimmery wings. We've got our moon or sun, whichever it is, with a slight halo around it. We've got our stamping at the top, and we've got our Get Well Soon sentiment at the bottom. And we've got a kind of clear area around the sentiment, which is quite a strange look, but it's just something I decided to do. And then we've just accented slightly on some of the flowers at the bottom. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. Did it in 3 sections, so it was sort of small chunks, just watchable. If you've enjoyed it, maybe give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. And also consider subscribing to my channel so that you hear about other videos as I post them. There's lots of videos on there, lots of different techniques, also cards from start to finish. And if you'd love to follow me, I would really appreciate that. And I look forward to catching you on a future video.